I'm Rob Freeman, CEO of Tradewind Energy, and have general management responsibilities for the company. We initially started the business as really an entrepreneurial venture to take advantage of the wind resource in Kansas. And then, of course, since then we've expanded our vision for the company dramatically, and now are working in about a dozen states in the Midwest. A big component of wind power is the economic development opportunity that we have here for revitalizing rural parts of our country. Everybody knows that rural America is looking for ways to keep their young people, if not to grow their economies. And I think it's fair to say that there hasn't been anything that's come along in recent memory that has the potential to impact rural economies like the development of wind power.
Gordon Homeyer, and I've lived in Ellsworth County. I was born and raised here. I've spent my entire life in the Ellsworth County area farming from day one. I grew up on a farm. I still farm that farm. The thing that I saw was the cleanliness and the renewable of it, and also the ecological factor that we would have a renewable resource that put down such a small carbon footprint and was very beneficial to our environment and everything around it. A harvest of another source of income, be it the wind, be it an alternative crop of some kind, anytime you can expand or diversify into something else, it has to be beneficial. The key mark of the whole thing, it gives you a stable income that is not hinged to agriculture. A pilot program that they have is a big boom to our economy here, let alone the long term. Not only in the direct from the wind power, but don't forget those landowners spend that money in your town too.
I'm Earl Watkins. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of Sunflower Electric Power Corporation, which is a not-for-profit generation and transmission cooperative located in central and western Kansas. Consumers' demand of us is that we meet our mission of reliable, affordable energy consistent with sound business practices and consistent with solid environmental practices as well. So this is just a tremendous win-win for us, and when I say this, I'm talking about our expanded interest in the Smoky Hill Wind Farm with Tradewinds. It accomplishes all of those things. That's the wonderful thing. We're not sacrificing the environment for a lower cost. We're not sacrificing lower cost in order to accommodate an environmental initiative. What we're doing is accomplishing all of the elements of our mission. Reliable energy at affordable prices that comply with sound business practices and comply with environmental stewardship.
Sebelius, Governor of the great state of Kansas. The Smoky Hills Wind Project is a great collaboration between a wonderful Kansas company, Tradewinds, and a company from Rome, Enel Energy. And we're thrilled at the collaboration. It shows that driving alternative energy is a collaborative international project. Smoky Hills is the largest wind farm in Kansas. It's a big project that will help us reach our goal of 1,000 megawatts of wind by the end of this year, and moving us in the direction of becoming a national leader on harnessing our great prairie winds and having clean, renewable energy from here in the heartlands.
Matt Gilhausen, Vice President of Development at Tradewind Energy. I am one of the founders of the company, responsible for all development aspects for Tradewind, including environmental permitting, site selection, engineering, pre-construction coordination, pretty much anything to do with taking the projects from conceptual idea through actual production of power from the plant. It starts with meteorology. I mean, we say the wind rules, meaning that if you don't have the wind resource or the fuel supply, you don't have a viable wind site. We start by using GIS and some other computer-based modeling technologies to allow us to do some of the prospecting to figure out where the wind is. Then we start getting into transmission analysis, where are the wires, we got to be able to move the power, the interconnection studies that give us the access to the transmission lines, environmental overlays of looking at migratory birds and other species of concern, permitting, that's a critical component, working with the county commissions, working with the state, federal agencies to make sure that we get all the necessary permits. From day one, we try to implement a tread lightly policy. We try to communicate with the landowners as to ingress and egress, and do they got crops planted or not, you know, what are the sensitive issues for them, and we try to carry that in through construction. We do everything we can to keep the construction impacts in corridors, in defined areas that are restorable. When you think about it from a corporate perspective, it only makes sense. The less you disturb, the less you have to restore. So we're perfectly aligned ourselves with the landowners in making sure that we minimize the impacts. It just makes economic sense.
My name's Steve Erbo. Working with Tradewinds the word I would use to describe it is professional. Besides just the payments coming to the county and the payments coming to the landowners for the leases and for the power output, it's been a lot of ancillary benefits.
My name is Joshua Swati. I farm here in Ellsworth County, but I also serve in the Kansas legislature. I've served there since 2002. As a policymaker, a wind project in your particular district or your particular area of the state is fantastic. It creates jobs, it's progressive-minded, it creates a lot of attention, and it's very exciting for the communities that are involved. Difficult to come into small communities and set up shop and start something new, and you have to do it by the sheer force of your own good nature and your ability to work with people, and Tradewind was spectacular. They met people at their own level, they talked to them, and they really developed that trust that's so important when you're doing any new project, but especially a project like a wind farm, so that you see landowners turn out and say, wow, thank you for what you've done over the past few years. It's been really neat to see Tradewind work so well.
My name is Tony Volpe, and I'm President and CEO of Enel North America. Tradewind was essentially two things. First, that they have a very long-term interest in projects. They don't only want to develop and then go away, but they want to stay for the whole life of the projects, and so that was very important to us. The other thing is, of course, that they were rooted in the same communities where they were developing the projects, so that we were sure that their relationship with the communities was going to be very healthy and very productive and long-lasting.
I'm Jeff Coventry, Vice President of Operations with Tradewind Energy, working in a number of areas of the company, from overall operations and finance, accounting side of the business, help out with marketing and business development. Tradewind is a very progressive company. We were one of the early companies getting involved in wind energy, at least in the modern phase of it, which really has happened in the last decade in the U.S. We're being very innovative in how we approach the development business that we're in. We're very cutting edge in technology use, GIS technology and computer technology. We do a lot of advanced design and analysis around wind resource and how we use mapping technologies and databases and other things to help do our work. So very cutting edge, very innovative in both our business processes and our technology use. Here at Tradewind, we are very passionate about building high-quality wind energy facilities that are benefiting local communities, utilities, and at the end of the day, consumers that are buying renewable, low-cost wind power.
I'm Frank Costanza. I'm Senior Vice President, Corporate Development. I've been at Tradewind since 2005, and my responsibilities include contract negotiations and negotiations with our utility customers, the financial end of our business, and the contracting end of our business. Having the experience in the utility business allows us to demonstrate to our customers that we do know their business. And some of the participants, not all, but many of our competitors don't have quite the same experience as we do, and we'd like to think that we have a deeper, more experienced team with many of our employees having come out of the utility industry. It's important to building trust with our customers, and there's nothing better to start a relationship than have a good trust and have your customer know that you understand his business, you understand how it operates, what makes it work, and how we can sell them on the idea that wind can be a viable part of their operations.
My name is Jenny Dean. I'm the biologist for Tradewind Energy, and I also help out with some development for some projects. As the biologist for Tradewind, I really have my hand in all aspects of the project right now, as far as initial siting of facilities and any studies that we do for threatened and endangered species or any real on-the-ground fieldwork activities I assist with. Tradewind is definitely an environmentally sensitive company. It does not make sense to create green energy if you take green out of the equation. So we take a lot of pride in our initial siting of facilities and make sure we have the minimal impact as possible. We've done everything from count prairie chickens to mistnet bats to study fish in streams and wetlands. We really do look at every aspect of the project. We work very closely with federal, state, and local agencies as well as the landowners to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the landowners as well as for the environment. One of the initial things that we ask them is how they use their land, and we take very seriously how they use their land because we'll only take up a very small percentage of that, so they need to be able to continue to use their land in the exact same way they were before we got there and before we built facilities. So it's very important for them to be able to get their heavy equipment in and out, to be able to access all their livestock, to be able to continue to hay or plant crops in the exact same manner that they were before. And we've done a lot of creative things in designing projects to make sure that they can continue to use their land exactly the same way as they did before, which is one of the promises that we make to them.
You know, wind energy, I think, to say the least, the benefits include it is renewable. The wind blows, it will be blowing today, tomorrow, and forever. So a good site is a good site. It's clean. We have no emissions. These machines, one of the other benefits that I see is that we are bringing economic development to parts of the country that are sorely in need of it. Many rural communities are losing their economic base. Children that have grown up on farms are leaving, going off to college and moving off into other areas, and so our smaller towns really need some type of economic development. Wind projects are very beneficial in that role as we bring economic dollars to the local communities, the counties, the school systems, fire departments. It's a tremendous benefit.
And over a period of 20 years, the project will offset approximately 10 million tons of CO2, 22,000 tons of nitrous oxide, 33,000 tons of sulfur dioxide, and the CO2 offset will be the equivalent of removing 55,000 sport utility vehicles from the road.
Because if you look at some of the challenges facing our nation, having an energy policy that both uses our natural resources but has a Made in America energy policy moving forward is not only terrific for our economy, but it's terrific for our security and it's good for our planet. I finally get it. I finally seen the turbines. These are spectacular. They said it's like having art decorating the hills for the first time, and that those pieces of art now will drive electricity and drive energy. And what a great partnership with a rural community, with farming and ranching that goes on in this great area, to have a stream of income producing electricity and helping to stabilize our rural areas. So I think this is a great win-win-win situation.
Yes, there's a positive impact of having another source of income not related to agriculture for an agricultural area. Probably the other major thing is to do something friendly to the environment while producing a good product.
Tradewind's, it's the staff, it's the work, it's the change, it's a new challenge every day, breaking down walls and educating the communities, educating the public. And at the end of the day, I think it's every day, every hour that those wind turbines are operating, that's another hour that some other source of generation doesn't need to run, which leads to more security for our country. It brings dollars into the pockets of the local communities. And those are really important things to me. And so I think at the end of the day, Tradewind allows me to make a change and allows, I think it's a positive for the state of Kansas and for the country as a whole.
At Tradewind, we love our work, we love our company, and we love the opportunity to drive change in the industry. And this is the passion that gets us up every day.